I was not around in 1938, but I can imagine what the conditions in this swamp must have been like. Working in this land and clearing this land must have been backbreaking and dangerous work, and for very little money. But the year was 1938, and to understand what that means, one has to look at the year in the context of the time. In 1938, oil was discovered in Saudi Arabia. Today, we owe Saudi and other oil exports around $223 billion. By comparison, we owe China $844 billion. In 1938, German troops occupy Austria. Today, we owe Germany about $53 billion. In 1938, the House Un-American Activities begins its first session. Today, it is now an active political entity with a different name, same cause. In 1938, Kristall Night, that is, Nazi Germany's first large act of anti-Jewish violence, begins. Anti-people violence or hate crimes continue in the 21st century. In 1938, Orson Welles broadcast his radio play The War of the Worlds. We seem to always have problems with aliens, don't we? Do you see any correlation between 1938 and now, the 21st century? Then there was Norfolk, Virginia. On June 30th, 1938, the Works Progress Administration, WPA, awarded a grant of $67,278 to begin the project being the Norfolk Botanical Garden. Many politicians at the time saw the project as wasteful government spending and was very much against such a waste, as they call it. It began as the Azalea Gardens. A group of 200 African American women and 20 African American men received the assignment. You do the math. $76,278 for 4 years, including paying 220 workers for 4 years. Can you imagine the conditions under which they worked to create beautiful Norfolk Botanical Gardens? Laboring from dawn until dusk, the workers cleared dense vegetation and carried the equivalent of 150 truckloads of dirt by hand to build a levee for the surrounding lake. For a period of 4 years, the 220 original black workers continued the back-breaking task of clearing trees, pulling roots, and removing stumps. They worked in harsh conditions, long hours during all 4 seasons, regardless of the blistering heat, humidity, rain, finger-numbing cold, snow, or frigid temperatures. They battled snakes, mosquitoes, ticks, and poison ivy. In less than a year, a section of the trees, briars, vines, and underbush had been cleared and readied for planting, using only pickaxe, hose, shovels, and wheelbarrows. By March 1939, the work had progressed so that 400 azaleas, several thousand camellias and other shrubs, and 100 bushels of daffodils had been planted, not to mention other flowers and plants. The men and women turned overgrown, swampy acres into a garden that stylistically expressed the national trend of landscaping architecture during the late 1930s. Neither the work nor the pay was great, but it was a means of putting food on the table, which would not have been possible otherwise. Of the 220 men and women, mostly women, only 54 people are remembered by their names for their work. Thanks to the funds from the New Deal, President Roosevelt, and those intrepid ladies, we have what I think is one of the most beautiful gardens on the East Coast. To thoroughly enjoy this beautiful setting is to truly pay homage to those American ladies, and let's not forget the 20 men that were also involved. Enjoy the Norfolk Botanical Gardens. It is absolutely beautiful, isn't it?